All right, guys, we're going to get started with leading with confidence. I'm going to share my screen. So let me do this real quick to get everything pulled up for us. And we will get started. Okay, let me close this up right here. Right, here we go. So a couple of things that I want us just to talk through as we get started. This is April, the 1st of April. So we are doing our first week of training. And I really always like for us to kind of get focused in on goals, focused in on what incentives are, what this means for us this month. And the biggest thing that I hear the most from you is the lack of confidence or the follow-up or reaching out and doing messaging. It all comes back to this point of the confidence that we have and the belief that we have in ourselves, in these products, etc. And so I always want us to kind of hone in, and I want us to work through this of what confidence looks like. And as you know, I always love to do interactive learning together. So I hope that you have a pen and a piece of paper because we will work through some prompting. You can always come back to this training and watch it a little bit later and really take it in and spend time on this. But I think that it's going to be good for all of us to work through this. Before we start on it, I really want us to look at what is at stake for April. So we have double convention credits, which is huge for us to be able to participate in that. And I'm going to show you some information here in just a minute in regards to that. So you really need to build out a plan on what that looks like. We also have our book club that we will be starting on the 18th. So you still have a little bit over a week to get that ordered and get your first 4 chapters read. And then starting next week, guys, we have the Easy Energy Challenge. And this is an excellent, excellent way for you to be having conversations right now, having people join you right now, even having some of your VIPs currently that maybe they haven't done active or ease, or they can even move their subscription up to be able to be a part of this challenge. And they'll get that free ease if they've done 149. Remember that any of our new VIPs gets a free ease in their welcome pack. So the welcome pack for Easy Energy Challenge would be the active lifestyle. It has your slim, your active, and your ease. And then they get a free ease, which will give them enough ease for the first 30 days because they'll be taking 2 in the morning and 2 in the evening. So I kind of want you to already have, okay, this is my plan. And we are on Tuesday. So I went live on Sunday night to kind of tell you about the challenge. I prompted you yesterday and I prompted you today to post about it, to get into your stories about it, to send out some messages. They still can order, even if they ordered on Friday. One thing that I want you to understand, of course, if they ordered tomorrow, they're going to have it in time because our shipping moves so quickly, especially with welcome packs. But if they ordered it, say on Friday, they're just now getting back with you or they're just now learning about it, I would still have them as part of the challenge. They can read about it, learn about it, get excited about everything. And as soon as their order comes in, they can get started on it. So I want you to think about those things. If you're like, I'm already late to the party, I don't get to participate, that's just not true. So make sure that you're inviting them. This will be in the Good to Great page. And we're super, super excited about it. So make sure that you're just getting some people started early because number one, you want to grow in your business, but number two, you got those double credits. And so I want you to see those things. Also remember enrolling 3, you get 150 spa, and 6 is another one additionally. So I want you to see all this stuff. One thing that I have trained on all of March, and then I'm just going to keep talking about. Everybody knows to grow your business, you recruit, you retain, and you develop. So you duplicate. That's what we say, duplicate, but that's developing leaders whenever you're developing them and you're training them on how to share, how to post, how to do messengers, how to message, do 3-way chats, our entire system around that. But this is what I want you to know, that when you're recruiting because you care enough about another person that you're sharing with them. You're sharing with them about this business. You're sharing with them about some stories or some product that you think that would be good for them. But that same type of caring and everything that you put into it as far as energy goes towards that and towards recruiting, you transfer that energy over to retaining. And that is, I care enough to see you through. You want them to see success. And so you continue to focus on them. You continue to onboard them, share with them, give them just little bits of bite sizes. One thing that Michelle did on her page, and I added it on my page, Michelle does our calendar every single month, and she always puts in there into the comments really great information, graphics of everything that's going on. But she also put out there our business call that the 4 Jewels did, and she also put our customer care system. Those are there, those are tools for you from a business standpoint and a customer care standpoint. And then, of course, development is that I care enough to know that your story is going to help other people. And so that's where you really start using energy towards caring for them and helping them see that they could impact a family member, a friend, someone at work, a colleague, different things like that. So always remember those things as you're working through. Everything that we do has a system to it. If you don't know a system for one of these areas, it's your responsibility, honestly, to raise your hand. There's never a dumb question. There's never a time that somebody raises their hand and says, I don't know, or I need help, that is wrong. But we train on this on a monthly basis. We have conversations around it. And so if you're not learning it, or you're still confused as to what is a system or where you can pull resources from, the only way that we know that is if you kind of raise your hand and say, hey, I have a question towards this. So please make sure that you're doing that, okay? I also just wanted you to see the convention contest because it is a double point contest this month. I want you to be able to plan out how you can earn, because there's so many things that you can do this month to be able to earn some really great prizes. And so if you have not seen this graphic, please let me know. If you want to put it in your phone, if you want to make it as your screensaver on your phone, let me know and I'll make sure that I get this to you so that you can have some goals in place. We're really going to be talking a lot about goals and targets because you have to have those in place to meet anything. It's the reason that you wake up and sit down and start working towards your daily activities whenever you're doing this business. So make sure that you have those things in front of you, okay? So let's talk a little bit about the pillars of confidence. Now that we know what we're going after, this is the second quarter of 2023. We talk about 90-day increments. You just finished your first set of 90 days for 2023, and you are moving towards your second 90-day positioning. If you did not do 90-day plan for the last quarter, that is okay. You get to start now. But I want you to, as we're building this out, which we're going to be talking about that at the end of this conversation, but as we're building this out, I also want you to be able to have the confidence to go after what you're going after. And so whenever I'm talking about pillars of confidence, I'm talking about 5 specific areas. Know who you are, know that you matter, know what you want, know how to think, and then know your future shines. You need to know that there is more to come, that the best is yet to come. And I want you to start getting excited about that and the things that are in front of you. So why confidence matters, right? Why does confidence matter? It builds a belief in yourself and who you are. And whenever you are confident about who you are and what you're doing, you can begin to trust the outcome. You can trust the process. How we were talking about a system earlier, you can trust the system, knowing and believing that in the end, it is going to work itself out. When you have confidence and you have worked on building your confidence, your positivity changes, your mindset changes, and you know just to keep moving forward. It doesn't bring in this doubt that we often have. So it makes you become more resilient, especially whenever things are going on and you're just not 100% sure. You are self-assured whenever you have confidence. You're more decisive. How often are you like doubting yourself and questioning, should I do this? Should I not do this? What is someone else doing? Which is never what we want to do. My biggest thing that I want to share with you over and over and over again is quit looking outside of yourself, quit following and running after the shiny things, quit getting overwhelmed. Oftentimes we get overwhelmed, honestly, because we're looking outside and we're looking at everything else and what other people are doing and what systems they have and what they're doing and what they're training on. That's where we get the overwhelm. If we can just be decisive, build confidence, know that what our decisions are good, and just keep moving forward. And then honestly, the biggest thing, because I so desire this for you and for me, is that it's truly a precursor to success. Because when you have that confidence, when you're action oriented, whenever you have that resilience and that you're going to bounce back whenever there's failure or rejection, or it's been a hard day and you've gotten a lot of no's, you're able to continue to move forward. And that's whenever you see the success. Okay, so know who you are. This is where we're going to start talking through a couple of things, and I really want you to look at some prompts, okay? So you can come back to this, but we're going to walk through this, but I just want you to even right now write down a couple of things. I want you to think about your top 5 values. Now, back in January, we worked through a training on values, so you can go back and look at that. But the values that you have, there are core values, core beliefs that you literally live out every single day, and they influence your decisions. This is what I want you to think about, is write down your top 5, but you really need to ask yourself, how are they influencing me? Do I have a conviction towards those things? Am I building a culture around that? Am I in alignment every single day towards my values? Because honestly, guys, you've got to realize those core beliefs, those values that you stand on, they impact you, your identity, your work, the way that you live out your life. So that's one piece that I want you to be thinking about, because this is where you figure out, I know who I am. And I don't know if you remember, those of you that have been with me for a really long time, within my first 2 years of doing this business, I shared a lot after those first 2 years. But those first 2 years, I didn't know everything I was doing. I was running as fast as I could, working a full-time job. And I literally did everything my upline did. I posted what she posted. I felt what she felt. I talked the way that she talked, especially her upline. Okay. I have transformed so much in 10 years. So I'm going to say that first and foremost. I'm an ambivert now, but I am a strong, especially 10 years ago, so strong introversion. I was such an introvert. And I remember feeling like I had been hijacked. I woke up one day like, who am I? Like, I'm not extroverted, but I'm acting. My voice that I'm putting in social media is an extroverted person. And that is not who I am. I'm super confused. And I'm doing everything that they're doing, but their story is not my story. And there was a part of me that was like, but I'm super serious. I'm super intentional. I'm super driven. And they're being successful, and their personality is not my personality. So does that mean that I need to change me and be more like them? Thank the good Lord. He changed my heart. He got me back in alignment. I slowed myself down a little bit and said, you're not being you. This business of all businesses, you are the billboard of your business. You represent you. And people come into this business and buy these products because they trust you, they relate to you, they resonate with your story. But if you don't know who you are, and you don't know your values, and you're not staying in full alignment, you're going to wake up one day and say, I feel like I've been hijacked. You're going to wake up one day and say, I feel totally burned out. You're going to wake up one day and say, hey, I think I'm kind of out. That's the last thing that any of us want you to do. God called you to this business. He called you here. I've always said that he has blessed us so greatly to personally develop us through this business and offer us a beautiful compensation plan. We're getting paid to be transformed. And I believe that to the core. So that's first and foremost. The next is what are your strengths and weaknesses? Because they contribute to your overall personality. Michelle and I were talking a little bit earlier today, and we were talking about one of her strengths, and she was like, but it could also be one of my weaknesses. And I was like, in my heart, I was like, absolutely. Like that happens all the time. Like our greatest strengths can be our greatest weakness because they do contribute, but self-awareness is everything. It's just like if you know anything about the Enneagram, there's a bit that if you are unhealthy, you're going to go to an unhealthy other number that is not good for you. So like for me, being an Enneagram 6, if I'm unhealthy, I go to a 3, which is an overachiever. And I've learned so much about why I lived in that space for so long, and we won't go into that. But the point is, some of those things are really great strengths. But if you're in an unhealthy place and you're there because your strength has turned into a really bad weakness, you've got to get back into alignment. So knowing and having that self-evaluation is really important for you to be able to build your confidence. When you know who you are, you love who you are, you accept who you are, and you realize that you are unique and that you're so different from everybody else, it becomes your superpower. And so that self-awareness, it's going to help you see how you interact with others. It helps you have this deeper, more fulfilled relationship. And that's what we're all about, is relationships. So you knowing who you are is going to allow you to serve other people better. The next thing is that you need to know that you matter. This is a really big one for you to start building your confidence, is know that you matter. What are you most proud of? I really want you to spend some time here, and I want you to think about this. So once again, come back to this. Maybe tomorrow, spend about an hour working through this process. But what are you proud of? And what is your biggest and your smallest celebrations? Like, you need to write all those things down. But this is really where I want you to spend some time. Do you recognize it? Is it taking you a moment to like be proud of yourself and celebrate yourself? Are you kind of like, I don't even know, do I even have a small win? I don't think I have any big ones. And my other question is, when you write them down, if you write them down, and if I even said, in fact, I'm going to do that right now, I want you to put in the chat some of your wins. Because my big question for you is, do you downplay them? Do you not allow yourself to celebrate what you've done? And do you not allow others to celebrate? So take a moment and just put some of those into the chat, because we're going to actually put that into action right now. I want you to also think about, what are your gifts and talents? And I want you to take some time to say, how am I unique? And love yourself in that unique space. It's so good for us to be unique and different. That's how God created us. And guys, that's your sweet spot. It's good to be different. It really is. It's a beautiful thing to be different. These things make you you. You have a positive impact on others. My question for you, as we're learning how to build our confidence, is, do you believe that? Because when you do, when you really, really engage and accept and love who you are, it boosts your confidence. And it makes you relate with others differently. And it gives you an ability to really care for other people, because you actually care for yourself. So know that you matter. The next thing is, know what you want. And I used this picture right here. This is with us and Kona this past year. And know what you want. I knew from the moment my husband said, you need to look at this compensation plan. You need to really focus in, sweet girl. Like, stop for a minute and look at what I'm reading. I knew at that moment where I was going and what I wanted. I didn't know how long it took me. If it took me 4 years, if it took me 10 years, I was okay with that. Because in reality, what this business could do with me in 4 to 10 years, no company, no career, no position that I was in could ever give me the finances and the freedom and the flexibility and the opportunities that this business could give me. So once I took all of that in, I knew exactly where I was going. And it didn't matter how long it took me to get there. I stayed focused. So know what you want. This picture in Kona is not about Kona. Do I love that I get to go to Hawaii? Without a doubt. This picture has everything to do with what is behind me having the opportunity to go to Kona. Everything that represents, financially, time-wise, family, memories, flexibility, opportunities. So see the fullness. You really got to start seeing the bigger picture. So know what you want. What's your vision? In 10 years, what will your life look like? In 5 years, in 1 year, are you journaling that on a continual basis? At least once a week, you need to be having time of sitting down and just journaling what life will look like and praising God for it and celebrating ahead of time and thanking Him as if it's already happened. You know, weekends for me are my time. I have my priority time, if you will, my priority time with the Lord every morning, but my mornings of my 5 days a week look so different from my mornings of my 2 days of a weekend with the Lord. Because my weekend is a slower pace. I have a little bit more time. And that's when I really sit with the Lord and journal. Find the time to do that. And this is my question. How does that align with your core values and your aspirations? If you know those 5 core values, how does this vision align with that? How does it align with your God dreams? Write those things down. When you really spend time engaging with this process, it changes everything about the way that you look at your business, how you sit down and do your business, how you make your business a priority, and how you dream. So the other big question that you need to ask yourself is, what brings you the most joy and fulfillment? Joy and fulfillment has to be part of your business. Why would you ever continue to do a work that you didn't have joy in, that you weren't fulfilled in? My biggest thing that I would tell you whenever it comes to joy and fulfillment is, if you don't feel fulfilled in doing this business, working with your clients, recruiting VIPs, sharing your story, hearing other people's stories, helping them bridge from what their problem is and what their need is and how you can solve it, I promise you, you are not connecting into your gifts and your talents. So I want you to think about that. If you don't feel joy and fulfillment in your business or in your life and what you're wanting to do, you're not connecting and engaging with your gifts and your talents. You were given the gifts that you've been given, your personality, your talents, to fulfill God's plan for your life. And I promise, I don't care what your gift is and my gift is, it can be used in the work that you do. Okay, so let that sink in a little bit, because you got to tap in. You got to tap in. Okay, so what can you do differently to begin to live out your life in alignment with your goals and your joy and the, I don't even know what word I put down right there. So your joy and your goals. How can you begin to tap into that and live differently? Whenever I say live it differently, my first thought towards that is the vision that you have for yourself in a year, in 5 years, in 10 years. You will not be the same person that you are today. You will have new skill sets. You would have grown in development personally, in relationships, and how you deal with emotional things and how you deal with conflict. You will be a different person. And so being able to start living as that person today, knowing who she is, and starting to live within those things right now. So once again, Probably 4 weeks ago, I talked to you about the gap analysis. I'd go back and look at that training and look at where you are today, where you want to be, and the bridge between that are the things that you need to grow and skill. Okay. So being able to see that. Know how you think. I would say this is one of the biggest areas all around mindset. For you to grow in your confidence, grow in your business, grow in your momentum, grow in this month of what you need to do. You need to know how you think. So what are your negative thought patterns that you tend to engage with, right? Those thoughts that you're like, yes and amen. I believe that about myself. Yes. And you just start kind of preaching to the choir in your mind. You need to write down those things. And those things could be like, I knew that this would never work. You just don't have what it takes. I told you you didn't have time for this business. Exactly when did you think that you were going to learn about that training? There's no way that you can learn a new skill set. You don't have time to message 10 people. Girl, you aren't like the people that are successful in this business. What are those negative thought patterns that you have agreed with? You need to write them down, and they often tend to come up often. You need to start capturing those as soon as they happen, because this is what I want you to think about. When you write those things down, and this is what I'm going to tell you guys, and I would like for you to put some of these in the chat. I want to hear what some of your negative thoughts are. But when those things happen, it makes you feel a certain way. And I really want you to take some time this week and say, I want you to engage with that and say, how does that make me feel? For me personally, I feel it in my body. A lot of times my shoulders will get tense. I feel very, my energy level goes really down. I get a little bit depressed. I feel burned out. I can get overwhelmed. I can go back to, it can kind of trigger me sometimes into a negative space. It's what's keeping you from engaging with others. That's when you isolate. That's when you pull all the way back. That's when you quit engaging in maybe group calls or accountability groups or on team pages. It keeps you from reaching out to others. So you have to be able to capture those. The self-awareness is everything for confidence. And then knowing how to combat it. So what are some positive affirmations that you can start speaking over yourself? A lot of times I pull scripture every time, the truths of who I am, of how God sees me, of how he loves me, of my worth, of my value, of how he chose me. Like, what are those positive affirmations that you can bring in whenever you all of a sudden that negative replay starts happening? What can help you reframe those thoughts and shift your mindset? And then lastly, I really want you to think about what would be the thoughts of your future self. Okay, so this is what I want you to think about. 1 year, 5 year, 10 years, the person that you are becoming, the successful person in this business, you're hitting your goals, you've got momentum, you're growing in resilience, you're very strong about your decisions, you're not doubting yourself. That person, what would her thoughts be? Because that needs to become yours. Many of you know, because you've been with me, you know that I have like 6 alarms set on my phone, it goes off every single day, of affirmations for myself to remind myself to get back into alignment, just in case I went off for an hour. Like, it brings me back and sets me up. You might need to be setting some alarms for yourself. You don't have to go overboard like me, maybe 1 in the morning and 1, in the afternoon. So being able to think about those things, okay? And then lastly, know that your future shines. Know that your future shines. Do you believe that you're made for more? Visualize who you want to become. And how do you need to work on you today so that you can be your future self? Do you know that your future shines? Do you really believe that there's more for you? Do you have a positive, abundant thought? Or do you really live in a space of scarcity that there's not enough? Do you kind of get frumpy, frustrated, judgmental whenever you look at everyone else that's being successful and you immediately say, they're successful, therefore I can't be, because you look at a pie and you think if they've taken 3/4 of the pie, you only have 1/4 left? That is such a fixed, negative scarcity mindset. And if that is where you sit, this space is where you need to work on knowing that your future shines. There is enough for everyone. And coming and realizing that, that's where a lot of celebration can happen as well. Gratitude can happen in that space. So being able to see that. So bring confidence into your business. Confidence gives you a massive action mindset. It changes the way that you look at what you have to do this month, these 90 days, today, tomorrow. It's all within you, but you must get into action to begin to develop your confidence and grow in your leadership influence. Like I said earlier, quit looking outside to find confidence. It's in you, but you have to get into action and use your confidence muscle for it to even strengthen. And most of the time, it means that you're going to have to be a little bit uncomfortable. You're going to have to do things differently. Your brain wants you to stay right where you are, because your brain won't have to use energy, and in your brain's mind, it keeps you safe. I promise you, all it does is you die. If you're not actively developing, if you're not actively pursuing, if you're just mediocre and getting through your days, you are the living dead. You're just going through the motion. You're not thriving. Your heart rate's not getting up high. You're not like, oh my goodness, I've got to depend on God so greatly right now. That's where he wants you to be. That's when you feel alive. Your confidence will be the bridge of success when the results aren't evident in any given moment. I want you to hear that again. Your confidence is your bridge of success when right now you're not seeing results. When right now you're like, I didn't get a VIP in March. I don't know what April's going to look like. Because you're confident of who you are, what you're doing, and where you're going, it is the bridge for you. It gives you the resilience to continue. So staying committed to growth will not only grow your confidence, but it's going to build that resilience and that positive mindset. Okay, so I want us to think about this a little bit. So as we look at confidence and growing our confidence and what that needs to be, I want you to start thinking about your next 90 days as we are starting the first week of our second quarter of 2023. Knowing that confidence and belief is in the center. And the more you grow your confidence and your belief, the greater your business growth will be, the greater your retention rate will be, the greater your recruiting and developing other leaders will be. So I want you to take a moment and I want you to write down 5 things that you want to accomplish in the next 90 days. What are 5 things in your business that you want to accomplish in the next 90 days? Write those things down. Because when you have these things written down, guys, we're going to go from 90 days down to 30 days, which will be the month of April, down to your daily. It's your roadmap. But also what you have to know when you're doing these things, this is success. You ask any successful person, they're going to tell you they set goals. They're going to tell you they know their target. They're going to tell you that they evaluate it on a weekly, if not daily basis. They're going to tell you that they are moving the needle in some way every single day, so that at the end of that 90 days, they have accomplished what they said. So if you want to be successful, do what successful people do. So as you write those things down, it's going to allow you to know, am I tracking or am I falling short? If I'm falling short, what can I do differently tomorrow to adjust? And if I'm tracking, I'm going to celebrate. Okay. So prioritize those 5 things. So once you have them, one is going to be a higher priority than another one. Then you start really looking at like this is a question that you need to ask yourself. In those 90 days, when you have accomplished those 5 things, what will that mean for me? You have to answer that question. What will it mean for me? If in 90 days, I've recruited 3 people every month and I have 9 new level 1s. At the end of 90 days, I've ranked up to a very specific rank that I've been working hard towards. At the end of 90 days, I've built my confidence and I've worked on posting and going live and being consistent every day. What will that mean for you? It will mean that I'm proud of myself. It will mean that I have built my confidence. It will mean that I actually hit a target for the first time ever. It will mean that I'm making X amount of money more because I hit the rank. It will mean that I helped 30 families start getting healthy. It will mean that I'm impacting lives. What will it mean? This is so critical for you to know today why you're doing what you're doing. So your 5 things could be personal growth, could be posting consistently, starting to work on reels, doing 10 reach outs a day, growing 10% in business growth on a monthly basis, ranking up. And then I want you to ask yourself, how will I celebrate? How will I celebrate in 90 days whenever I hit all 5? How will I celebrate this month whenever I scoot it back and I know what I have to do this month? How will I celebrate my small wins, my magnificent wins? Write those things down. The big thing that you always have to know is that consistency always wins. It always wins. If you will commit to being consistent for 30 days in April or 20 days, 25 days, whatever it is, 5 days a week, you'll see a difference if you'll truly commit. So know your winning day formula. And whenever I talk about that, that is reaching out, being social on social media, being in your stories, asking questions, doing polls, messaging people and asking them if they're curious to know a little bit more about the business, reaching out to people and asking them if that you feel like that you have an answer to what they were posting about with a health issue. Know what you're going to do every single day with your reach outs, with your posting, with your follow up, with your developing one of your VIPs and helping them to start posting. Be consistent. So what needs to be done every month to hit those 90 days? I want you to back it out. We're not going to do that tonight, but make sure you do it this week. We're on Tuesday. By Friday, you should know. In regards to recruitment, retention, and development, what needs to be done in April, in May, and in June. And then from there, what does that mean for April? Knowing what you have to do to hit all your milestones, then what do you have to do every single day? What can I do today to start momentum for my 90 days, my 30 days, and my weekly? Okay. And then the last thing that I want you to spend some time on is my 30-day outcome. So April, double credits for convention, ranking up, retaining. You're going to want to retain, guys. So make sure you're working on customer care, and you will love me when you'll know why I've told you that every single day for the last week. My 30-day outcome is, put that into the chat right now. What is your 30-day at the end of April? What do you want your outcome to be? So what is that target? What is that goal? What does that mean for you? What is the best outcome about my 30 days and my 90 days? Like, who am I becoming? Because of this, my outcome is And then you have to ask yourself the question, what is the cost of inaction if I don't do my goal? What will it cost me if I just procrastinate? If I say I'll do it tomorrow, if I just quit, I work one day and I don't work anymore that week, what will that cost me? If you know what you want your outcomes to be and what you're going after, you'll see the cost of inactivity. Another thing is you just get yourself ready is what's your daily affirmation so that you stay in the right mind space. Okay. So thinking through those pieces and being able to know what you're going after. So I hope that that was helpful of looking through. It looks like I still want to hear, I'm actually going to turn off our recording. So let me do that real quick.